Good morning, folks. Well, it's almost noon, I guess. I've been out in my garden since about, I don't know, 7:30, 7:30-ish. And first thing I did was slug patrol. Now, what I like to do is take a paring knife, a garden paring knife, and when I find a slug, I just cut the slugs in half. So I found probably, well, it was over 100, I do know. So my sister did a video on slug traps, and she said they work rather well, and she did a demonstration on how she made hers. Now, I salvage like Pringle cans, the plastic kind. I guess they're stacks. And so I followed her advice and I made a slug trap. So there's two on the cover. And let me see if I can't zoom down in here. Maybe. Let me see if I can't put the flash on. There we go. Look at all the slugs that are on the wall of the container, and look at all the slugs down in that mixture. So that explains I never found a single slug on the ground here this morning. So there's that. I will empty that out and I will make some more solution and put it back out. So there's one. Now down here about 10 feet away, I made another one a little bit different. I just made a little windows and just bent the tops out, and so the rain wouldn't get in. And let me zoom in. Slugs. Look at the slugs. Not as many in this one, but still, I got slugs and these traps work. I'll put the link down below so you can have my sister explain how she made hers that I copied. So the idea of the slug traps is you make the basic solution that just about everybody has in their cupboard or pantry, and they are attracted to the solution. They get in there and cannot get back out. So far I'll see how many slugs I caught in those two containers. So far I'm pretty impressed, and I will probably make more of these. Okay, folks. One of my sayings here is never let a good stump go to waste. Well, how about not letting two stumps side by side go to waste? So you remember when I planted my other potatoes, I had 7 potatoes left still to plant. Well, I figured, why not plant them between the two stumps? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. There's no soil here, folks. All there is composted sawdust, well, composting sawdust. It's not really composted yet, as you can see by the light colors. And there's a slug. We'll take care of that. You don't need slugs. And I'm just going to spread them. I'm just going to put them all right here, folks. They're going to be a little crowded. That's all right. Because as of right now, I don't have a very good spot that I can plant in that, we'll put it right there, that I want to take the time to make. Okay, so this is all I'm going to do, is I am going to just spread a little bone meal around. It's a root enhancer, right? Bone meal for your root vegetables, folks. That's turnip, that's parsnip, that's beets, carrots, anything that you grow for a root crop, folks. Okay, so there's a little bone meal. Alright, folks. So I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm just going to sprinkle the fertilizer around the potato, not on the potato, not up to the potato, but around the potato. Just like that. Maybe a little bit more up in there. Alright. So now I've got bone meal, and I have 10-10-10 fertilizer. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to cover these potato seed with rotten composted sawdust, folks. Just look how beautiful that compost is. And that's all I'm going to use, folks. I'm not going to mix it with dirt. I'm not going to do anything. We don't want to put weeds in there. I'm just going to cover it with composted sawdust. You were just going to cover those spuds by about 2 inches, maybe 3. I've got a whole bucket here, so. Get those weeds out of there. Well, that's a whole root ball, I guess. Now, we are not going to pack this down. We're not going to tamp it down. We are not going to do anything but lay that nice, fertile, loose soil on top and then leave it. Okay, we might spread it out a little bit, take those roots out, and then I'm just going to even out everything. We're just going to even it out. So it might be more like 3 or so inches. And that's all I'm going to do, folks. And we'll let that come up. Now, I was going to plant these later the day I planted the other ones, but I just didn't. And then I forgot. So that is it, folks. That's it. And these are russet potatoes. Just like that. No digging, no nothing, folks. Just on top of decomposing sawdust. Laid down bone meal, laid down 10-10-10 fertilizer, and took some composted sawdust and put it on top, and then I'm going to leave it. Now, I will probably put a couple of stakes on both ends so no one thinks they can walk between the stumps, okay? So, that is it. I will keep you posted. Okay, folks. Now, I've shown you my slug trap that works pretty darn well. I just showed you some potatoes that I just planted between 2 stumps, right? Now, I could spend literally hours in my garden, folks. I really could. So, I've already spent a few hours here in my garden, and I've had this jacket on, my barn jacket, all morning long. And I literally wanted to put a winter hat on, this morning because it was pretty darn cold, okay, and it was sprinkling off and on, and there was more wind this morning, but it's warming up, but the humidity in the air is pretty good, but it's still in the 50s. So what I've done this morning is, if you have glass windows that you're no longer using, or you find beside the road, or you've got stored away or whatever, I use them as mini greenhouses, and I use them to warm the soil up this time of year. So usually what I do is, where I'm going to put my green bell peppers, is I'll lean some windows up right there, and I will allow the soil, the sun, and the warmth to warm that soil up after a decent rain, so it's nice and moist in there, and it's getting that nice heat from the sun, right? So that's what I usually do to warm my peppers up, so the soil is warmer earlier, and I could plant my peppers a little bit earlier. And right now they're inside the house on the windowsill, and I've got plants to transplant, and it's just getting almost like a jungle in there, folks. So what I do is I find old windows in the back end, so the north side of the window, which is back that way, is raised up a few more inches than it is on the front, so it's at an angle like this, so it's facing the south, okay? Now that works pretty darn well. So what I've got here, I planted some cucumber seeds that some nice lady gave me, and these ones are tender green burpless cucumbers, so I'm really excited. And I've got some Marketmore 76 that another nice lady sent me. They're planted, and Ashley put cucumber planted as well. But I just happen to be right here by the burpless. Now it's pretty darn early to be planting cucumbers outside, especially where it's been so cold and so damp and windy, right? It's been cloudy. We haven't had hardly any sun, folks. So I put, just to warm the soil up a little bit more and so they won't get soggy, I put those windows up. So that's going to warm the soil. The cucumbers are going to like it. It's moist already in there from all the rain. And there's nice compost in there. So they ought to pop right through the ground, okay? So working at it, folks, working at it. But I don't know what's going on with the weather. I do realize it's like May, I think it's May 21st, I'm not sure. So, but it's cold, folks. It's cold. Now, I know some of you were expecting, like Jazz was expecting 6 inches of snow. Holy cow, man. If we get 6 inches of snow here, I'm going to be a little PO'd. I don't know about you, but I would be a little PO'd. But the wind, the rain, the cold, and almost endless cloudiness, folks, is not good for a lot of garden plants, right? It's not good for peppers, it's not good for tomatoes, it's not good for beans, it's not good for anything but cold weather tolerating plants like potatoes and cabbage and turnip and kale and spinach, Swiss chard, and beets. That's what I've got in the ground for cold, well, garlic and onion and parsnip. But that's all I've got in the ground for a cold, hardy plants. So anything else that I have planted a little bit eagerly, they now have windows over them, okay? So that's just to protect them if we get a frost, if we get 6 inches of snow. Those are pretty rugged windows because they're older windows, folks. So they will handle that snow because they're in pretty good shape. They don't look like they're in pretty good shape because the paint is chipped a little bit, but we're not going to worry about that. If we're expecting 6 inches or any kind of wet, heavy snow, then I'll just come and put teepees over them and kind of shelter that glass a little bit. I'm really not worried about it, folks. So This is something I do every year. This is something that really works well for me. It allows me to get a nice head start in my garden. Now, a lot of people, like last year, I had a chocha that was up and blossomed, and they had little pods on there, and she did not know how that was possible because it was early. So I told her that I planted them and started them inside. I had them grown up a piece of twine from the bottom of the windowsill in the pot up to the top of the window, so they were allowed to climb. So when I transplanted them, I just unhooked the top of that twine in the pot that the achocha was in and just brought it out and attached it to the trellis, and then took the achocha and soil out of the pot and just put a hole right in there and planted it. It was very simple, folks. But the achocha is a very sensitive plant. It will break off. It does not handle much abuse, folks. So for those of you who have started them inside and you need to transplant them, please be very, very ginger with them, okay? They won't handle bending much at all, okay? They're very sensitive plant. So I guess that's it. I don't know what's up with the weather. It's almost June and I've got a barn jacket on. But it is what it is, and I don't know if I was talking to Johnny in an email this morning, and I told him I just didn't know if it was the grand solar minimum that is causing all this cloudiness and all this rain and the wind and the cold. We got one day that was like 93, and the highest temperature this week is going to be like in the mid 60s, folks. One day it might get up to 83, it said, might. But that's going to be probably a very humid day because it's supposed to be partly cloudy or partly sunny. So I can see where a tunnel greenhouse would be awfully nice, or a hoop greenhouse. I can see where that would be beneficial if we're going to have a few years of this. So another year, we'll see what I can do about that, because I wanted to make one this year, but the whole this thing happened, so yeah, we're not going to go into that, folks. But so it's not this year, maybe next year. I know I've got a lot of the items that I need already, and I've got the plan on how to make it. So it just takes a little bit of time and a spot to put it. I don't know where I'm going to put the damn thing. Hope you're all having a good day. I hope you are staying busy. And I hope you're getting your hands dirty into some soil. And I hope you're all doing well. So thank you for coming back, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.